Well, this is the thing. The mayor's on such a spending spree at the moment. He wants 500 million a year just for TfL, which I think is staggering, and he wants to increase the annual budget for London up to now. I think it's going to be 25 billion pounds. That is absolutely astounding. And then, you know, he's going to cry poverty that he hasn't got enough money to do anything. And this is what he's choosing to spend the money on. This is the thing that annoys me the most about this diversity, equity, and inclusion training. Is like you say, it's been proven not to work. It's incredibly expensive, and it's just a grift. I'm sorry. Like I know you joke around about saying you turn up, but I mean, most.
Oh, I'd love to.
But this is the thing. The things when I've gone to them, we get an email basically before saying just sign what they tell you to sign, so we could say we've done it, and we can all go back to work. You know, most big companies do it because they don't actually care about it.
Okay, so Sadiq Khan, Mayor of London, is back at it again. As you saw from the introduction, he now needs £2.5 million to spend on diversity training program. I think it's fair to say that Sadiq Khan has gone extremely woke, honestly. I feel like there's a new terminology you need to use because he's so far left. I think he's gone past the point of wokeness. You know, beginning of this year, I spoke about Sadiq Khan's plans to spend £6.3 million to rename London's Overground trains. He wanted to name them number 1, the Liberty Line, number 2, the Lioness Line, number 3, the Mildmay Line, number 4, the Suffragette Line, number 5, the Weaver Line, and number 6, the Windrush Line. I said at the beginning of the year, and I still stand with my statement, there is no need to take £6.3 million of taxpayers' money to use for woke overground train lines. There's absolutely no need, especially when he was and still is behind on his housing projects. You know, he's been given a lot of funding to build and construct, erect houses, apartments, flats in the UK, and he's behind. But yet you want to take £6.3 million in the beginning of the year for these woke projects, and now as we're going to the end of the year, you now want £2.5 million of taxpayers' money to spend on diversity training programs. This guy has so much money, he doesn't know what to do with it, honestly. He's just throwing the money away.
How much is Sadiq Khan spending on his new diversity training programme for Transport for London?
Oh, here we go again. He's creating an administration in his own image,
yes,
of which people, it's nothing to do with their skills or their ability whatsoever. And so he's doing this diversity training thing, which I understand he's going to be spending something like £2.5 million.
He just hates everyone, doesn't he?
Well, we've now got an assembly members. You know, I stood for Reform UK in London Mayor, and as I say, Alex Wilson is our new assembly member there, and he's actually got inside a sort of a root of what's going on in there, and everything is about diversity. They've got single-sex loos, all the other things are going on. It's very woke. Everywhere's woke. So, and the problem is, you know, he's going to continue this. I'm afraid, you know, London has voted for what they're going to deserve, I'm afraid.
I've got to be honest with you, when I worked at City Hall, every Friday afternoon I used to perform an unpolitically correct song which I'd written during the week, and they kept threatening to send me on diversity training, and I kept threatening to go. Oh no,
it's always fixed characteristics, isn't it? It's never diversity of thought. And it was 3 or 4 years ago that the previous government discovered that unconscious bias training does not work.
No.
It's been proved not to work. In fact, it does the opposite. It can make things worse. So £2.5 million now. Over 4 years, I think it's going to be.
I'm not suggesting that people do this, but I've got a friend of mine who, when they brought in the diversity quotas for the Metropolitan Police, you know, if you stop one person who's black, you've got to stop 2 people who are white or whatever. He always self-defined himself as a Vietnamese boat person. Because he believed that in all likelihood that would mean he'd have to find 500,000 other people.
This is the thing. The mayor's on such a spending spree at the moment. He wants 500 million a year just for TfL, which I think is staggering, and he wants to increase the annual budget for London up to now. I think it's going to be 25 billion pounds. That is absolutely astounding. And then, you know, he's going to cry poverty that he hasn't got enough money to do anything, and this is what he's choosing to spend the money on. This is the thing that annoys me the most about this diversity, equity, and inclusion training. Is like you say, it's been proven not to work. It's incredibly expensive, and it's just a grift. I'm sorry. Like I know you joke around about saying you turn up, but I mean, most.
Oh, I'd love to.
But this is the thing. The things when I've gone to them, we get an email basically before saying, just sign what they tell you to sign, so we can say we've done it, and we can all go back to work. You know, most big companies do it because they don't actually care about it.
Yeah. Just to add to his point, number one, Sadiq Khan should be focused on knife crime in London. Knife crime is surging. It's gone through the roof. I remember just a few years ago, you know, knife crime in London overtook, you know, gun crime in New York. And I'm just thinking to myself, has knife crime got to that point? Like, it's literally an emergency. It seems like it's a national emergency, and that's very scary scenes to see. So that's what Sadiq Khan should have his mind on. He should be focused on, you know, erecting flats, apartments, etc. You know, because that's what he was allocated the funds to do. So he shouldn't be behind on that, ask for more money and then spend it on woke DEI. This is insane. In addition, it's like what this gentleman said right here. When he was given woke paperwork to sign, he literally just signed it. Yeah, just sign it and just let it be done. You know, so no one really cares for this. This isn't changing anything. I believe that equality should be in the grassroots of any corporation's business model. You know, it should be embedded in it. It shouldn't get to a point where you now need to bring some woke paperwork and have people sign it. Oh yeah, do you agree by this, that, this, A, B, C, D? It's all too long, you know, and it's not helping. It's definitely not helping at a time like this. You know, in the UK, there's a lot of tensions, and you need a mayor and you need a government. And we're going to get onto the government in another video, but you need at least a mayor that doesn't have to be stoking up tensions at such a time that is crucial in the UK and in London especially. So he shouldn't be stoking up any tensions. He should be here trying to administer good words to the people of London, not be behind on your housing targets and tackle knife crime on the streets of London.
I would go and engage fully. The City Hall once threatened to send me on a 1 week diversity training with Lee Jasper. I was looking forward to it. I really would.
But these organisations keep coming up as well, the ones who give this training. They come up with new versions. I think you can almost take any of the buzzwords like sort of anti-racism, allyship, LGBTQ, gender this, gender that, put them together, you've got a new course. And so they're just repackaging and repackaging and charging for it.
This one is specialising in microaggressions, apparently.
I
don't know, but it sounds painful.
What I don't understand, it can't be important because it's a micro.
It's a micro.
Macroaggressions I can understand.
Like
microaggressions. We mustn't forget there's something like over 1,000 executives earning six figures. And that's one of the things where
I genuinely feel like I'm on the wrong side of this argument because I could have made a fortune by now.
The problem is, though, with Transport for London, as far as I'm concerned, you can disagree with me if you like. I think that it's destroying transport in London because it's effectively the tube bosses eliminating other forms of transport, specifically roads.
Road transport, you're absolutely right, spot on. And as you know, I've been fighting like mad regarding the emissions issues, and we know that ULEZ has made no difference whatsoever to the air quality you breathe. You go down to the tube, it's 2,000% worse down there what you breathe in.
In the words of Margaret Thatcher, ULEZ if you want to, the lady.
Well, I have to use that one.
It's amazing though, isn't it? Because if they really cared about pollution, they wouldn't deliberately create all the traffic jams.
Well,
I'll tell you, Howard, I remember sitting in a meeting with Transport for London, and we said, if you put this particular bus lane in, it's going to cause gridlock on the North Circular. And they went, yes, but that's not the only advantage of the bus lane. Well, what do you mean? Sorry, that's not the only disadvantage. Right. Went, no, that's not the only advantage. It is our policy to ensure there are traffic jams to discourage people from driving. Well, of course, you're choking kids by doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've got cycle lanes. Just take Park Lane. There's 2 cycle lanes. There's already one in the park next to it, and they've got another one in Park Lane, and they've brought it down to 20 mile an hour.
And it's so dangerous to pedestrians. Just crossing the road outside where I live, I've got to look left and right on the pavement first because there are cyclists going up now. And then there's a cycle lane.
You've got floating bus stops.
Yes. You've got a bus stop on the other side of the cycle lane in the middle of the road. So the bus comes along, stops, all the passengers debus, and then they have to cross this cycle lane, and the cyclists are not stopping.
No, they're 30 miles an hour, above 20 miles an hour.
Horrendous. But it's bad right across the country, isn't it? I've given the example of Greater Manchester, where, if you're on the border between Greater Manchester, Cheshire and Merseyside, They were all on about bringing in the congestion charge. So to drive within that, to drive around Haydock would probably cost about 40 quid a day.
I tell you right now, Andy Burnham told a straight up lie when he said that I have no plans whatsoever to introduce a congestion charge. The cameras were already up.
I mean,
it was nothing but a barefaced lie. And the only reason he didn't do it was he saw what was happening at the time when there was a big protest movement here against it, and it was coming up to his election. And there was a huge move against him, and it was literally, and it sprang up overnight, and literally, I think within about 2 weeks, the policy was, oh, it's never been our policy to have that. That is a categorical lie. I mean, how often have we said, if you want to see how Labour were ever going to run this country, look at Sadiq Khan.
Yeah,
and it has been, it was a blueprint to roll out right across the country.
And this week I've actually launched a campaign, because you probably don't know about this yet, you probably do, certainly the viewers probably do, is that he's launching £4 each way on Blackwall Tunnel.
That's right, the new tunnel tax.
Yeah, and the tunnel tax like that. This is a tunnel that's been up for 110 years, and it's always been free to go through. Yeah. Well, and he's taxing EVs to go through.
Well, we're going to have to move on, but I have to say, one of the things that is particularly bad about these mayors across the country are the people, like in places like Slough and Windsor, who have transport organised by Sadiq Khan but are not in London. Therefore, he can cut your transport and basically, as he's a little 5-foot hate-filled goblin, he likes having to go at people. Read Bromley. Okay, now, you gave an answer to this question, but I'll reread the question anyway. How much has Sadiq Khan spent on his new diversity training programme at Transport for London? You said
2.5 million.
You are absolutely right.
I can assure you that woke programs are not going to change anything in the UK. I believe the only way things can change in the UK is by having an active government that listens to the people. I'm going to be touching up in my next video, or in 2 videos time, about the riots in London. Let's just quickly touch up on it just really quickly, because it all goes partially hand in hand. And that's, you need a government that listens to the people. Very simple. Nigel Farage, you know, I was talking about him like a few weeks back, like a month ago actually. And I was talking about, you know, the dangers of trying to silence him, because he has a large following in the UK, and Nigel Farage is very much, you know, driven to get what the people wanted for when they voted Brexit. He wants to stop the boats. He wants to take control of the law, borders, money, everything. And, you know, the people have been ripped off. I said it in that video a month ago. You know, the British people have been ripped off, and they didn't get that. They just got more boats. They got no control of their money. You know, it was being shipped out, and they had no control of the law. You know, the government was just allowing boats to just flow in. And one of those reasons is why you see protests in London right now, because people have just had enough. And then when they haven't silenced Farage in that aspect, they've gone after his campaign. You know, they've probably put a prop there to say some, you know, racist things so they can pin it on Farage. They've done everything to eliminate Nigel Farage from, you know, from running and from being a voice for a large portion of British people that just want to get their views heard in government and believe that they're being silenced. But that's not a video that I'll do to go into depth on, you know, the protests. But Sadiq Khan, £2.5 million on, you know, diversity programs is not going to help anything or anyone. Focus on, you know, the properties, you know, I've highlighted them. Focus on knife crime, focus on all kinds of crime, not just knife crime, all kinds of crime. You know, phones are being stolen. You know, people are walking around with iPhones, Samsungs, they're being jacked. In addition, home burglars have been going into people's houses. You know, they've been stealing cars off the front of people's driveways. That's how emboldened and how enabled, you know, these thieves are. You know, he needs to be doing something about that so that the everyday Londoner feels safe, you know. And then when the everyday Londoner feels safe, he needs to worry about, you know, investment opportunities, you know, and things like that, you know. So yeah, 2.5 million on diversity is probably not gonna do anything if you ask me. But this is just a way to just grab some cash, you know, for whatever he wants to do. So yeah. But anyway, guys, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.